Hello, this is going to be a beginner's guide to torn armor. We're going to look at how armor works, how to read the items, and kind of give a recommendation of kind of where beginners should be at with armor. So just a quick introduction. Here's the wiki showing all the different armor sets. These are the two basic sets. These are the three yellow, kind of the common armor sets from Ranked War. Here's the 4 orange sets. These are kind of the mid-game sets that you'll see. They can be really good. And then of course the red armor set, which is the rarest set to come out of the armor cache for Ranked War equipment. And we can see there's quite a bit of variety here. But we'll be focusing kind of up on this top half. So let's get into it. First off, when we're looking at armor, it's important to know how to read it. So if we just go down to something like this flak jacket right here, we'll see that it has an armor rating of 33. This means that it blocks 33% of any attacking actions that actually land on this piece of armor. So what that means is when you're doing an attack and you see those kind of little red targets land on the opponent, that very center is the pixel on that person that it's choosing, and if that pixel shows up on this armor, then it will block that much damage. So that's all that means. The other factor in armor is coverage. We can see this vest kind of has the sleeves cut out, and it's kind of got a lower cut in the front, and that is exposing a lot of the model, the body of the target. So if we look at this coverage, we see that it covers the entirety of the heart. It almost covers all of the stomach, not quite. It covers a decent amount of the chest, but it doesn't really cover the arms or the groin or the legs too much. If we compare that to this flex armor, we can see that it has very similar coverage, but it has a much higher armor rating. This is going to block 45% of damage. So this is a better item. You can see it in the difference in price too. If you're a new player that has joined a kind of active faction, they should be supplying these kind of 45 armor things at a minimum, if not some of the Ranked War things. But comparing this, we can see that below this we have a full body armor. And right here it's 34 armor. It's more similar to the flak jacket, but what's very different about it, if you look at the model and the amount of coverage, is that it blocks a lot more of the body. So every arm hit is blocked, every stomach hit is blocked, and every chest hit is blocked. So it's got a lot more coverage. And so the question is kind of like, is armor rating or coverage better? And I've done the math on a lot of them. And generally, for body armor, it's going to be the armor rating, because arm hits do less damage than like the core body hits. Since they all generally cover the chest and heart and all that, and have arms exposed, that's why the body armor doesn't matter nearly as much. Helmets, on the other hand, if we look here, we can see head, heart, and throat. They all do increased damage because these are the critical hits. Helmets want more coverage generally. That's just because getting hit in the face is going to do a lot more damage than getting hit in the arm. So now that we know what armor looks like, what we're looking at when we see armor, the question is, what kind of armor should a new player be looking at? Well, the combat set, which we can see right here, is the armor anyone should be able to have access to. The individual pieces are relatively cheap, and then this combat vest can be replaced with a flex vest, which we've already looked at. That was this one right here. And that's kind of the starter generic set. Now, There's also ranked war equipment. This is the yellows, oranges, and reds I was talking about at the beginning of the video. And if you're in an established faction, you should be able to find people offering some kind of, usually Dune or Riot, and that is a good goal armor to kind of aim for. These are yellow armors that block a certain type of weapon damage, and they can be extremely useful for younger players, and they're not going to break the bank really. We can see this helmet's worth about 100 mil here, the gloves are worth about 70. That may seem like a lot to a new player, but for factions that are doing the ranked wars, it's manageable. It's pretty easy to get, and if you're participating in those sorts of things, you're going to want good armor to be more effective, and it's also going to give you the money to afford that good armor to be effective with. But anyways, that's kind of the starter armors. I would recommend Riot or Dune for a faction looking to supply its players. And then for the new players, I would hope that you can at least afford the combat. The one yellow we didn't talk about is Assault. It's a more expensive armor set, and it has a little more cheese to it. Maybe at some point we'll talk about kind of the different armor effects and all that, but for a new player just starting out, hopefully this help them understand armor a little better, help them kind of get an idea of what they want, or at least know what they're looking at. And I really appreciate you watching this, and I hope it was edifying to some degree for anybody out there. So thank you, and good luck.